What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome back to another episode of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking one comic book character, as we do every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. As always, I am joined by my best pal, Mr. Shaun Would. Shaun, how's it going?
I'm good, Connor. How are you? God bless. Lovely to see you.
I'm back.
You're back. I was unsupervised for a Friday. Did you listen by any chance?
Did I listen? To the show?
Did you listen to Hero Zero?
Of course I did.
Did you know? What did I talk about? Tell me everything.
You talked about Warhammer 40,000. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and what was your favourite part of it?
Oh, probably about 4 minutes in. You said the word and that was a good one.
No, I didn't actually. I purposefully didn't because I knew
screamed
you'd say that.
For 25 minutes.
I got a lot of stuff off my chest. Yeah.
The thing broke. I was going to listen.
You can just say no. That's all right.
I was going to give you a listen, lad, and then it broke. And it's just that when I'm not on the show, it's weird to be tuning in because it feels like it's your show. And like on a week off, I don't really want to be like, know what I should listen to, Shaun. That'd be good.
I mean, should I be hurt
Please,
by that?
everyone, tune in, like, subscribe. Please.
Patreon, Spotify reviews, all of the rest of the things.
We love it too. We're going for 5 stars.
We make the show that we would want to listen to.
But we do.
You prick.
No, we do. I was just taking the piss. But yeah, we are going for 100 5-star reviews on Spotify before the end of the year. So if you haven't given us a review on Spotify, could you please do that now? It would be very, very helpful. But Shaun, it is my week for Hero Zero. And I normally do DC characters. You normally do Marvel characters.
I do.
And so I decided this week, what I'd do is I would choose a character from the Batman universe, a character that we did 5 years ago.
Oh.
Episode no longer exists, and one of my favourite characters, so I said I'd bring him back up now that, I feel like we have the mics. They're working at a proper level.
As in they're working, yeah.
They're working, that's good. It's not like tinny. And I feel like now is the perfect time to talk about a man whose real name is unknown, but goes by Bane. Shaun.
Bane?
Yes.
Good God. Is that really that long ago? 5 years?
Yes.
That's insane.
Creators were Dennis O'Neil, Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. His first appearance was in January of 1993. So the main thing to remember with Bane is that everyone just assumes he's a big, strong, muscly man and he's got no smarts. And
thank you for listening to Hero or Zero. We will be back soon.
You have to let me say but that is not true. Because Bane is actually a genius, and I think The Dark Knight Rises, it kind of gets it right that he's that level of strategic mastermind.
Yeah, I don't feel that goes far enough though with the big hulking monster guy.
No, and I think a lot of people then think of 1997's Batman and Robin, where it has all the venom pumping out of him, and that's ridiculous. Yeah. He's a mindless monster in that. But Bane's origin is so cool as a character. He's so interesting. He was basically conceived as a darker take on Doc Savage, with inspiration from the Count of Monte Cristo and Mexican luchador culture, basically. So he was born to serve the life sentence of his father. So his father commits a murder, gets life in prison, he dies, and the son is sent to serve his sentence.
That's not the standard way that law is carried out, is it? There's literally, you can't have the sins of the father affect the sins of the son. Come on, lads.
True, but this is in Santa Prisca. So Bane's childhood and early adult life were spent behind the walls of Peña Duro, an infamous prison located in Santa Prisca. His mother was imprisoned with him as his guardian, so he gets put in jail, and she now has to go to jail to look after him for something neither of them did.
That's, again, doesn't seem fair. Was she brought from the hospital, or did she give birth in the prison?
I think she gave birth. No, she wouldn't have given birth in the prison because she was then sent to prison.
Right. So Bane technically wasn't born in the prison like everyone thinks.
Well, maybe, I mean, I feel like he was born to then just go immediately to prison.
All right, but he had a good couple of hours outside.
He had a good 6 hours there to run away.
Yeah.
Bit lazy, if you ask me. And so Bane was forced. So his mother stayed with him until she died when he was only 6 years old. At her funeral, Bane was forced to bear witness to her corpse being thrown by prison guards from the cliffs into shark-infested waters below.
That's excessive.
Seems a bit much for a woman who hasn't committed any crimes.
She was perfectly innocent. Her only crime was love.
Though in prison, Bane's natural abilities allowed him to develop extraordinary skills within the prison's walls. So he read as many books as he could get his hands on, he built up his body in the prison's gym, and he learned to fight in basically, like, prison life. Just like getting attacked from being born.
Just like the harshest upbringing you could imagine.
Yeah. Despite his circumstances, he appeared to have found teachers of various sorts during his incarceration. So, like, he had hardened convicts, he had elderly priests that were there, and they all just gave him, like, a classical education as well as, like, an education of the streets. So he just had best of both worlds constantly.
An education of the streets.
I made that up. That's my very white person for phrase of, he was badass, right? Just leave me be. Right?
Of course, sorry. I didn't have an education of the streets myself, is the only.
He was a devil in the streets and the sheets, that's what I know. So however, he committed his first murder at the age of 8, stabbing a criminal who wanted to abuse him. But another criminal arrived, and then the two engaged in a fight. And so he was basically going to be sexually abused in the prison, and
right.
He committed his first murder when it was about to happen. It gets broken up, and the two of them start fighting. They accidentally push Bane, and he falls, and he sustains a head wound, and he basically goes into a coma. And in the coma, he meets a man who is his future self, and it's basically himself telling him to conquer fear. Eventually, after spending 31 days in the coma, young Bane awoke, but he was no longer a child. In fact, he had become a man, and he had now decided that he was going to conquer all of his fears in the real world every day.
And was that was just a dream? That wasn't time travel shenanigans?
No, just a dream.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
That night, Bane walked and killed his would-be abuser. Remember, he's 8 years old. With the warden eventually arresting him and confining him to basically like a place called Cavidad Obscura, which is a cell below sea level. And he was imprisoned in there for 10 years. So he learned to swim, which was a necessary skill, as the cell naturally flooded each night at a high tide. He then
Jesus Christ.
So it's like the worst fucking cell in the world. He meditated there, and he conquered all of his fears. He's stuck in that cell for 10 years by himself.
And he's just like, they still bring him food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's insane, though.
So during his years in prison, he carried a teddy bear that he called Osito, which is Spanish for little bear, and he considered the bear his only friend. However, the bear had a knife inside it, so if anyone ever started on it, he would just stab them to death.
Fair, honestly, and a good hiding place as well. No one's going to think to look in the bear.
Good. So he basically eventually established himself as the king of Peñadoro prison. The prison's controllers took note and eventually forced him to become a test subject for a mysterious drug known as venom. So he became king of the prison. Nobody wants to mess with him, and the guards are like, great, we're doing this new test to make super soldiers, and we're injecting them with venom, and every other subject had been killed that they had taken away. Right.
And so they're like, maybe Bane's the one, because he's a lunatic.
He's strong enough that he can take it. It did nearly kill him, but he survived, and he found its effects enhance his physical strength, although he needed to take it every 12 hours, or he would suffer debilitating side effects. Now, while also in prison, Shaun, he was told of stories of a bat man that was lurking around Gotham. And he basically heard stories that this is a man that struck fear into everyone in Gotham City. He led with fear.
See.
And it fascinated young Bane. So years later, he escapes along with several accomplices. His friends then join him as his ambition turns to destroying Batman, who he had heard several tales while serving his sentence. He was fascinated with Gotham City, as it was basically like a prison where fear ruled. In this case, fear of Batman was ruling Gotham. So everyone's afraid of Batman.
I like that perspective where
he's fascinated by that it's a prison for the criminals.
Yeah, but it's like it's an open prison, but there is still Batman's the warden, basically.
Exactly. Bane was convinced that the demonic bat that haunted his dreams since childhood was also a representation of the Batman. So he's been haunted by a bat in his dream, and he's like, "This is my life's calling. I gotta take on and defeat the bat and conquer fear."
That's kind of cool.
It's
very convenient, but it's very cool.
Yeah. So wanting to test himself, Bane challenged and defeated Killer Croc, who is one of Batman's most formidable opponents. So he's like, right, well, I'm just going to test the waters here. What's going on in Gotham? So he arrives, immediately picks a fight with Killer Croc, and he just beats the shit out of him. Right?
And so he's most formidable in terms of strength.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he goes, Riddler. Who's the smartest? Riddler. So he gets Riddler and he actually injects him with venom. So Bane turned Riddler into a ripped version of himself, giving Batman not only a classical mental challenge, but also a physical challenge as well. So he's got Killer Croc straight to Riddler. He's both ends of the spectrum. He's just like, I want to see what Batman does.
Yeah, I want to see what he's up against day to day.
Aware that a direct assault on Batman would be foolish, Bane destroys the walls of Arkham Asylum, allowing all of its deranged inmates, including the Joker, the Scarecrow, the Mad Hatter, the Ventriloquist, Firefly, Two-Face, and Victor Zsasz, to escape into Gotham City. And his plan is, he's just going to tire Batman out. So he releases all the criminals, and is just like, well, Batman's going to have to round them all up. And he spends months, like weeks on end, gathering all of these criminals one by one and putting them back into Arkham before they cause too much harm to people.
But they're all like his greatest foes.
And constantly, during each one of them, he's getting more and more injured. Like, he might have a sore shoulder, then he faces Two-Face, might get like a bang in the leg, and then he's like limping as well, and he's just moving on to the next criminal constantly.
And he hasn't had an education in the streets either, so he doesn't know how to fight like that.
No. In the meantime, Bane then just starts following him around. And the criminals are fascinated by the way of Bane. Like, there's a moment where Mad Hatter sends a villain called Film Freak to find him. To be like, he mind controls this guy Film Freak, and he's like, go find Bane and just follow him and just see what he's up to, because like, we don't know why he's here. There's just some weird muscly guy in the shadows that's always following all of us and Batman. And he finds Film Freak immediately and kills him. Just kills him straight away.
Straight up kills the man.
Just showing his superiority, like, do not follow me. I will kill anyone who comes after me. And all the villains are like, okay, cool, he's a psychopath. Great.
Yeah, another one. Great.
So he also captures Robin at this point, but Robin is saved because Killer Croc shows back up with like a broken arm and like starts fighting. I didn't
hear no bell.
Yeah, like he starts fighting him like he's coming after him again because Croc is mad. Croc also damaged Bane's venom pumping machine. But Bane broke Croc's arm again. Like, just re-broke it. Yeah. Like, do not fuck with me. And they're dragged into the river and like dragged away, and that's how Robin gets away. That's the only reason he survives that encounter, is Croc shows up. Yeah.
I didn't know Bane kidnapped him in that story. That's wild.
But he's just bringing him in as bait just to try it out.
Yeah.
Like, Robin is nothing to him. Like, he's smaller stuff. He's going for the big dog. So Bane is later brought back in, and he goes to this charity event at Gotham Civic Centre, and he recognises Bruce Wayne is over there, and immediately recognises Bruce Wayne as Batman straight away.
How does he figure? Like, I guess it's probably obvious.
Stance, body shape, like the way he acts, the way he talks. Like, Batman is putting on a facade, or Bruce Wayne is putting on Bane reads people like a computer.
So yeah, he knows that every small movement that Bruce Wayne is making and Batman
he's watched Batman
moves
for months at this point.
Yeah, he studied him.
Studied every single movement that he has. So like he sees him straight away. He's like, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Okay, that's good. Good to know that.
Good to
know. So after his last encounter with Bane's henchman and running himself to exhaustion, Batman eventually captures all of the criminals. He fights all of Bane's henchmen, and now we get to the big part of the story. And with Batman returns back to Wayne Manor, and he's battered and bruised. It's been a tough 8 or 10 weeks. And like he's got gunshot wounds, he's like bleeding from places, he's limping, he's like fucking hell.
Like he's held together
he's held together by sellotape at this point. And he comes back into Wayne Manor and he finds Alfred unconscious. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? And he turns around and there's this fucking monster man standing there.
This giant human standing in front
Bane,
of him.
Who's been like, I was waiting for you, Bruce. Thanks for joining us. And immediately begins beating the fucking piss out of Batman. Because Batman's got nothing left. Like he's on his last legs.
He's on fumes.
He's on fumes. And Bane has been training for this one fight for weeks. And now he's pumped up by Venom. And he's ready to go. And so he knows everything about Batman. This is the first time Batman's ever met him. He doesn't know anything about him.
Yeah, so Bane already knows how this fight is going to go, basically.
Yeah. Like, everything's perfect. And he defeats him very easily. Like, just kicks the shit out of Batman. Batman tries to put up a brave fight, but, like, he's got nothing left. Like, if you got a bullet hole wound in your arm, Bane just grabs it, just snaps it in two. Like, you're fucked.
Or, like, he sprained that shoulder, like, 2 weeks ago. I'm going to just fucking... Yeah, go for that.
Yeah, exactly. And Bane knows he sprained it because he watches all the fights, so he knows where he's injured. And so as a coup de grace, he breaks Batman's back. He lifts him up in the very famous comic book panel, and he breaks the bat.
That's what you get from having an education in the streets.
That's 3 times, right? You don't get any more. So, look, he breaks the Batman. He lifts him up. He breaks his spine over his kneecap. And he makes Batman paraplegic. He then takes Batman to downtown Gotham and he tosses his broken body in the middle of the street and is like, this is your hero. I am Bane.
Yeah.
This is what he's down to. Nobody should be afraid of this man.
Yeah, he can be beaten. But he takes away the mythos, basically, of Batman.
Exactly. So Batman is out of the way. Bane starts to take out all of the leaders of the gangs and organised crime in Gotham. So just immediately he just starts killing everyone else. All of the gangs. Because he's like, this is my say. Nobody's taking it but me. Nobody's getting anything but me. And not long after this, Bane becomes aware of a new Batman that's somehow going around. Now, this is Azrael.
Jean-Paul Valley?
Jean-Paul Valley. As Batman, with his broken spine in a wheelchair, is like, I know Azrael could be a good Batman. This is before Azrael goes insane. And he's like, I think Azrael will be a good replacement. Gotham needs a Batman. Azrael, we need you to dress up as Batman to take my spot while I'm gone.
And he gets the best Batman costume there's ever been. like
the most badass Batman costume before he goes insane, yes.
Yeah.
And so Bane is surprised to see that like this new Batman's going around, and he then learns that this Batman has helped imprison several of his henchmen, and he's like, okay. And then the next night, he's surprised to see them all back at their hideout. They've been all released by the guards, and he's just like, okay, this is strange. It was all a fucking trap. Like Jean-Paul Valley had set it all up so he knew where Bane's hideout was, and he just pops down and they immediately just start fighting. Bane and the new Batman struggle for a while until Bane gets the upper hand, but Azrael manages to escape, and Bane is forced to retreat before the police arrived. Bane then looked for even more venom for their next fight, but Azrael's the first one to notice the venom, and he's like, wait,
there's an in, there's a weakness,
there's an in.
Exploit.
And so Bane confronts the new Batman, and who is wearing a new battle armor, And the fight was even, as Bane uses venom to increase his strength, but Azrael has the battle armour to increase his strength. And then eventually...
his durability, so he can't get his back broke.
Exactly. He's got the old paddles on the spine.
The old double spine.
Everything else is very weak. He's only got armour on the spine.
You really spec'd into spine defence.
Really spec'd it. So... unfortunately, Batman cuts the hoses, Azrael cuts the hoses connecting to Bane's system, eliminating the venom supply. And after this, Batman beats Bane to a pulp when Bane has no strength left to fight. And Azrael defeats Bane before Batman defeats Bane.
That's great. I like that Azrael's the first one to do it, and then presumably he gets... power mad after this, isn't that what happens?
He takes out the person that takes out Bruce Wayne. He's like, I'm better than Bruce.
Yeah, I'm the best there's ever been. I should be in charge.
When Bane got sent to Blackgate, he stayed in a catatonic state for months. But it's a really cool paddle is that when Bruce Wayne's spine recovers at his first night back as Batman, and he goes back, don't ask how his spine, look, it's just, he's back as Batman, right?
There was a man with a rope and he fixed it for him.
He was training, right? An old man in a hole did that, right? The Bruce Wayne returns as Batman, Bane's eyes wake up.
That's great.
Knowing that his enemy was back.
That's pretty good. Makes no sense, but it's pretty good.
It makes no sense at all, but it's pretty cool. It's neat. So following these events, Bane recovers from his venom addiction while serving time in prison, and he escapes eventually, and he returns to Gotham, where he actually fights alongside Batman to take out a criminal ring that's distributing venom, derivative to street-level thugs.
Very Arkham City.
So he doesn't really care. Like he's not, Bane isn't bad per se. He's just looking for a challenge.
Yeah, but he'll do bad things to do it, but he's not out to conquer the world or anything like that.
Yeah, he even afterwards he declares that he's not going to commit any more crimes, and he urges Batman to stop hunting him, and then he's allowed to just leave Gotham without fighting Batman to begin a search for his father, which starts a whole new story in which, and you're going to love this, in the middle of it he meets Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul is you're my heir, fucking Batman is shit.
I'll take your body, that's fine.
Yeah. Then they attack Gotham, and they are trying to release a plague attack on Gotham, and Bruce Wayne gets his rematch with Bane in this comic book, and he finally defeats him in single combat. And that's the moment where Bane's okay, I respect Batman. He's cool.
He came back stronger. Yeah.
There's even a moment where he thinks Thomas Wayne is his biological dad, because he can't find his dad, so there's several different options, and one of them is an American doctor, and he finds out the American doctor is Dr. Thomas Wayne. So he goes to Wayne Manor, and they do DNA tests, and him and Batman are just in Wayne Manor waiting for the results
themselves.
Oh no. Just we could be brothers. It's revealed that he's not, but it's a cool little story. And they eventually found that his father was the unscrupulous King Snake. And with Batman looking on, Bane helped foil King Snake's plans to unleash a powerful weapon upon the world. Bane saved Batman from being shot by King Snake, but he was shot himself, mortally wounded in the process. So he saves Batman's life.
Took a bullet for him. Batman then in return saves Bane's life by bathing him in the Lazarus pit and leaves him with a clean slate and a new opportunity at life. And Batman gives him his blessing to leave and just live his life. You can be done now. You're finished.
You're done. I'm no longer after you, and you're no longer after me. We're done. You saved my life, I saved yours.
That's cool. Does he stick to it?
This is before the New 52. After that, not so much. But this, I like the story of that his character comes in most
I like
powerful.
That as an end point. Yeah. And he evolves to the point that him and Batman have a respect. That Batman's you are much more than you seem, and he's Batman, you are much more than you seem. And there's a level of we're both fucking killers, but nobody can take the two of us on. Yeah, and also they're
the reason that, like, that brother's story is interesting because, like, they would be perfectly suited to be brothers.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Because Bane is always seen as the muscle, but he's a fucking genius as well.
Yeah.
There's a story also, he joins the Secret Six to try and get rid of, like, his venom addiction. Like, he tries to give up venom altogether, and instead he employs tactical combat techniques instead of relying on crushing strength in all fights. So he just evolves back to just tactics all
That's
the
cool.
time.
Yeah, he's fighting with his mind and not just raw brute strength, brute force.
And in the Sinister Six, he's also seen as like a father figure to Scandal Savage, who's Vandal Savage's daughter, and he like looks after her as like a dad would. That like
That's cool.
and it's
That's
never
nice.
said, but it's like clear that he loves her. Like he's not in love with her, but he loves her as a like
cares about her. Like
he cares about her. And then it said like, oh, someone says to him, oh, like, you know, Scandal, like, she loves you back, like, she thinks you're great. He's like, no woman will ever love me. Like, he's like, nobody will ever love me. I am a fucking monster, but like, I'm just trying my best.
Alone. That's kind like he is kind of tragic in a way. Like, he has done very, very bad things, but he is a tragic kind of character. Like, he didn't have a chance from the start.
No, I think he's one of those characters that is like really, really layered as like just as a character that starts off with one thing, and then as it progresses, you can do so much with that character as you add more and more layers. Like, he arrives and you're like, this guy's muscle, and then he kills Killer Croc, and then like as all those comics go on, you see the plan emerging where like he's like, oh, he's releasing them all to tire Batman out, and when
you look back on this, it's like, oh, of course, that's the best way to do it. But like, he's the only one that saw that.
Exactly. And then he scans everything and he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman just from looking at him immediately. His powers and abilities in terms of that. Also, I'm not doing New 52, but that's just his initial 1993 run to 2011. And I just love the idea of ending it on that Batman's like clean slate. Yeah. Now he goes back on that eventually, but like I love that they get to that point from breaking of the spine.
Yeah, where if you want, you can just stop reading Bane comics there, and that's where it ends for you.
So his powers and abilities, venom usage, obviously he's got super steroid venom, allowing him to temporarily enhance all of his strengths. His endurance, his stamina, his healing abilities are also like added. He also needs to inject himself. Although overuse can result in temporary insanity, which is a great.
He goes like berserker mode, where it's like too much adrenaline in the system.
He becomes capable of lifting about 2 tons when he injects himself.
It's pretty big, I guess.
He's got peak. I did that yesterday. He's got peak human durability, peak human speed, superhuman stamina, peak human reflexes, accelerated healing. In terms of abilities, along with all of those, genius level intellect. Ra's al Ghul has said that Bane has a mind equal to the greatest he has ever known, which is Batman.
So they're on par, basically.
In terms of brains.
But Bane is that smart, starting from like 100 meters back in the race, like, which
he's actually more like of a heroic character, other than all the bad things.
Yeah, but like Bane had to work more to get where he is.
Yeah, in prison, like he taught himself various scientific disciplines equal to the level of understanding of leading experts in those fields, basically making him a genius.
That's like, and all by himself. Like, he didn't have the leading experts to teach him.
He's also got polymath. So despite the absence of college, high school, or even like primary education, he has completely memorized all the facts in countless encyclopedias and books. He's exceptionally knowledgeable in basically every subject: mathematics, various scientists, history, geography, medicine. That he would mostly likely have multiple degrees and multiple ones of those.
That's one of my favourite things about Bane, is that like that's enough on its own. Just being that smart, like that could be your whole thing. But and
that's not even to say like his tactical analysis as well. Like as you said, like he's highly he basically comes up. He's a superb strategist and tactician. He's committed various famous war manuals to memory. He once beat the immortal Ra's al Ghul in a chess game. He's one of the 2 people to have ever done this, the other being the Joker, weirdly.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Because I suppose the Joker did it because he played in a completely weird way that no one
like, he doesn't do anything logical, so Ra's al Ghul doesn't know what's happening. Escapology, he's challenged only by Batman, Nightwing and Mr. Miracle in the art of escaping and infiltration. He's basically been able to break out of any prison you put him into. Multilingualism, he can speak French, Spanish, German, Russian, Mandarin, English, Farsi, Dari and some Urdu and Latin.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All self-taught, presumably, as well.
Oh, all self-taught, yeah. Just photographic memory. You can just read them once and he knows what it means.
Insane.
Yeah, so like, and all of that along with martial arts, swordsmanship, meditation. He meditates for 4 hours every night instead of sleeping.
So he doesn't, but like that just recharges him. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
And that is my report on Bane, one of like the best characters in comics.
I'm glad that's now committed into like the new run of episodes because that's an insane character and weirdly fleshed. Like, there's not too much bullshit in there either. You know, when a character's been around for a while. Yeah,
like I love the fact he's used sparingly, which I really enjoy. Like, they don't throw him into stuff. When I didn't like in No Man's Land the storyline, I think he's Lex Luthor's like bodyguard, which I don't think is as fun.
No, it's easier if he's just every so often he has need to do something, and that's when he gets on Batman's radar.
And it's tough. The only issue is that it's tough to create a conflict when him and Batman are cool. Because the reason why he shows up is he's like, I want to challenge Batman.
Yeah.
And then they settle it. So it's weird if he goes away for 5 years. He's like, I changed my mind. I want to settle this again.
It would be cool to have a story kind of like Injustice, but like where Bane shows up to Batman and like Batman is doing something, but Bane is like, no, you're wrong. Like, this is the wrong way to
and he's in the right.
Yeah. Like, that would be an interesting story point.
That'd be good. So that's my report on Bane, Shaun.
Well done, Connor. You gave us a real education in the streets there. 4 times. There we go.
That's 4. That is 4 times.
Cat throw. Do you want me to take us out?
Yes, please.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Monday with I don't know what the story is next week. I'm away for a lot of November, I'm going to be honest. So
yeah, we didn't want to tell anyone this, but Shaun is going to Japan for 3 weeks. So not sure what we're doing there, but good stuff.
Figure it out. We'll figure it out. But there is also extra shows on the Patreon if you want to have a look over there. Patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Movie reviews, Q&As, TV show reviews, whole host of stuff over there. So if you do need extra episodes, that's a great place to get them. Other than that, Twitter's @Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast. The best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
And I think that's about it, Connor.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun Mean.
I shall see you all next week, guys.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.